Good morning, guys. Hope you're doing well. This is a COT data video for the week beginning the 4th of November. Naturally, we've got the election, so the outcome of that is going to overshadow some of the stuff we're seeing in the COT report. We can see that the EURFX was sold quite hard, quite heavy, and so this leads me to suspect that the banks are forecasting a Trump win. The reason for it is that there's a likelihood of Trump enforcing these tariffs on the Eurozone and China and all other countries, not just the Eurozone. But that's possibly a likely scenario that this is them forecasting a Trump win for the fact that it really got sold off very, very heavy. In fact, we come from 100,000 to minus 50,000 in 3 weeks. So it's a big move. Okay, so it tells me that the banks are predicting a Trump win. If so, there's loads of things that are entailed in that we're going to have economic war, but less global war. So it's good for peace, bad for other countries and their businesses, but good for America. So it's just one of those things. We can't predict who's going to win. It could be a tight race. And also another thing is that we could have a situation where we're going to have, like, supposed to have the outcome of the elections, but there could be difficulties in getting the results, and it might be prolonged up till Wednesday, Thursday. So we're going to have a very tumultuous 4 days ahead of us. And I was seeing on Twitter that people were going into different states and voting for the same candidate, driving away, driving to the next state and voting for the same candidate. And they just rinse and repeat that. Because America, they don't require photo ID, people are abusing the system and they're voting multiple times for the same candidate. So we're going to have lots of skewy results, and it's probably be the last election that they don't have photo ID, because it's very prehistoric, it's very old school. They need to do that for verification purposes. Every country, every modern country in the world requires photo ID, but not America. But you've got to require photo ID to buy certain things in America. So it's very bonkers. So I think this would be the last election that they don't require the photo ID. But I think what might happen because of that, because we're going to get a bit of skew, we're probably going to have like a prolonged scenario where we won't know the outcome till perhaps Wednesday, Thursday. So I think Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is going to be very roller coaster, so you've got to be careful. And there's a likelihood of what happens on Friday, we'll probably see a reversal on Monday, and whatever happens on Monday, we could see a reversal on Tuesday. It's basically churn and chop, and the retail guys will probably be at the losing end, to be honest with you, as we've seen in the sheet. We've had a free trial the last 2 weeks, which is ongoing, by the way, but the sheet is signaling reversals the following day, and this happens so frequently. So the herd go one way and then they get squished, and then the following day they're proven to be correct, but only after they're in humongous drawdown are they proven to be correct. So it's just quite a nasty trap mechanic that goes on with FX. So you've got to be careful. Like Andre was saying in Discord, don't hold too stubborn on the bias, because you'll probably be proven to be wrong at the election results. No one really knows what's going to happen for sure, but it does look like the banks and institutions, they're forecasting a likely Trump win from that, I think. Okay, that's my thought process, is that it's such a heavy sell-in that's likely sold for a reason, right? Let's look at yen, and yen's in free fall. Well, not free fall, but it's falling fairly heavy. It is stronger than the euro, in so much that the euro is weaker than the yen. Can you see the difference between the two? I was saying 2 weeks ago that these two maybe form parallel, and they have, which is quite interesting. Do note that what the dollar is doing, we're quite stable, all right? Whereas these are being sold off. Let's look at the Aussie. Aussie is just going sideways. Okay, so that's of note. Okay, do note that the yen it's quite heavy. We're back below zero as well. We had like a nice time being positive, and we're back negative again. Hopefully we don't come down here, but we'll have to wait and see. This is the Aussie and the yen moving in parallel, which is really weird, really weird, and they start to deviate there. Okay, so just note that the Aussie is sideways. Okay, and pending the Trump victory, I'd imagine this Aussie would probably perform quite poorly. We'll have to wait and see. Pound, it looks to me like this is like compressing. It's like doing like a spring. Can you see it? I think we could be breaking down on this. It looks like um, it's been consolidated for a move in so much as that it's had a lot of volatility, but the volatility is declining in these zigzags. So I think we're probably going to see a breakout, and it looks like we're going to break to the downside. Okay, and we had a big week in the pound because of the budget. We had a humongous spike in the UK gilts, in so much is that in one day we had a third of the volume in a month, in one day. All right, so we had a very volatile week for the pound, and we could see continued weakness. We'll have to wait and see, but I can see this breaking down. But we'll have to see what happens with the next week's COT data. So it looks to me like we're going to break. Right, okay, so let's wait and see for that one. CAD is going to be weak, and it has been weak for ages. Just there's no one interested in buying it at all. We're really weak. We might even break that low. Minus 196,000. It's, yeah, I mean, that's going to be a support. It might want to come down to test the support. It's looking quite heavy. So that's that. That's CAD. Okay. Gold. Now it's worth noting with gold, because on the QDB sheet, the bubble is above 50%. That tells us that they heard a net long on gold. Okay, so there are longs up here at these historic highs. If we do fall, those longs could be trapped. Okay, so be really careful. I think what might happen as we go into the elections, I think the US yields are going to spike because of the uncertainty. If the US yields rally, then it'll be like a move to safe haven flows. Okay, and what normally happens if the US yields rally, then gold tends to fall. And do note that gold has been tracking indices, so it isn't really a safe haven per se, because it's following the Dow Jones, it's following the S&P in a very strong correlation. So if the S&P falls, or the Dow Jones, or the DAX, or the Nasdaq, it's likely gold's going to fall as well, and there could be some trap longs. Do note we made a head and shoulders, so make of that what you will. Very interesting head and shoulders pattern, and this would be the all-time high, and just wait and see. Technically, we're very strong, so be careful about selling it because you'd be counter trend. But do note that they heard in that long, and we might have topped out on the COT, possibly. Right, so don't go like YOLO and short gold just because of that. Ideally, really, you should be looking for longs after the dip, but be careful if they're heard in that long. Okay, I've got a feeling that they might get trapped, and then they're going to hold on, and then they could get blown up, like the shorts did on this move. Gold shorts, they started shorting at 1900, and that's like $700 away. We've moved $700 since they started selling, and they got royally squished. And this is them selling. This is them potentially buying, because we can see on the bubble chart that they're that long. So this was a big squeeze. Will we get another one? You know, be careful. Gold off, and then New Zealand dollar. And probably just going to be sideways and choppy. We are. That's fine. And yeah, it's just hard to say. It's just going to probably go sideways. He just like really chopping, very consolidated and sideways there. And that one off, we'll put on Swiss franc, and we are looking fairly negative. 49 and 33. It looks to me we're still kind of range bound between that high and that low. Remember that we have an ongoing trial. It doesn't start at any particular day. It only starts when you inquire, and then you get access. So say you message me today, then in 2 weeks, I'll sever your connection in 2 weeks if I don't hear from you. So it starts whenever you apply, okay? And the trial is for the sheet, and it isn't for Discord, okay? It's just a sheet trial for 2 weeks, and I've had some very happy people so far. One chap in Telegram who took 4 trades from the sheet because we've got a trade of tomorrow, and he took 4, and all 4 were successful. So it's a good testament to the fact that the sheet's given really good, high quality signals. And what it's doing, in case you're interested, is that it's looking for the most extreme deviation on the bubbles on day 1, and on day 2 we see a reversal from that extremity. So they get very squished on day 1, and on day 2 we see a reversal on that sentiment, and that's how we've been so successful on our signals. So remember, in Discord they will go out in the daily bulletin, and here, and then I'll be putting stuff out there for the trade of tomorrow. And you may have seen Aussie CAD. I was saying we were going to come up to the resistance. We did come up, but it was very choppy. And also we had pound Swiss as well, but I didn't recommend pound Swiss because of the volatility that we saw in the gilt market in the UK, and it would have been very risky. And so much on the one day, we had 1/3 of the volume in a typical month, right, in one day. So the pound was very, very volatile this week after the budget. And the next day, we had a pound Swiss long, and it really, really rocketed. We had a 90 pip move on that signal because the extreme deviation on day 1, and we see a reversal on day 2. So if you're interested about the sheet, let me know, and I'll be happy to get you on board. And I wish you a good weekend. Be careful this week because we've got the elections, and we've got a very uncertain week where we could even have civil unrest or even potentially riots. So hopefully it's a peaceful transition, and we may not even know till Wednesday, Thursday, maybe even Friday. So we're going to have a very roller coaster week. So remember to trade safely, and I'll speak to you guys soon.